Fallen is a bit of an odd beast. The original game came out in 2014 under a studio named Deck 13. It had promise, great art direction, a strong premise, but it had a lot of issues. It didn't really understand what it was like to be a Souls-like game, and as such, it never really found an audience. Then came the sequel.
Well, the reason why is because it just didn't go. That's the reason. The fact is that, like, the graphics, the aesthetic, the design, and everything else was totally on point. I mean, really, this is a game made for Dark Souls.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
It was buggy. It was just the game just sucked, right? I mean,
you don't have to be a witch to find the magic in this world.
I think the
but it does
why
help.
So many people had such a negative perception towards The Fallen when it originally came out is because the expectation was that it was going to be amazing. Because so many other things about the game were amazing.
The IP was then passed around a few different times to a few different studios. The project was shut down a handful of times before CI Games just said, screw it, and founded an entirely new studio called Xworks to try again from the ground up. And what they made in 2023 was a massive improvement. They now rebooted Lords of the Fallen under the same name. It looked beautiful. The art director did.
I've watched entire realities consumed by chaos. I won't let
it in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
Really.
Goodbye.
It's a sword game with demons, and it looks like this isn't under control.
Control chaos? You really don't understand.
Serving as both a combat mechanic and an exploration tool, the game finally had something resembling its own voice.
Yeah.
But that voice was buried under some serious performance issues, bugs, balance problems, issues with combat.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have to stop them from securing the mission area.
Like, you look at this here. Top critic average.
Will answer for their
Goodbye.
So the biggest issue is the level was basically you fighting on the side of a mountain.
My work here.
On
Goodbye.
different
For
platforms.
now.
Every attack that your character did would throw your character like 5 feet forward. So you would constantly be getting pushed off of the edge by your own attacks fighting monsters. And then it had Dark Souls 2 enemy design, where they have all the enemies
You're
there.
not going anywhere.
The enemy is behind every wall.
Destructive power.
Punisher turret is fired up.
The most annoying and frustrating version of the game that you could possibly do.
It was one of those pop and fold games where some people really liked it for what it was, and other people didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Reborn from the chaos. Goodbye.
Before it vanishes from conversation, especially given the fact that it launched near pretty steep competition in the likes of games like Mr. Must Before. In most cases, hell, 9 times out of 10, any studio would have taken the loss. They would have fixed
You need
a few
to stop
bugs
that
and then
vehicle in its
report on
tracks.
their next
Chaos
title. But
control.
Hexworks and CI Games did the opposite. Over the past few years,
Now, a disappearance.
These are all free upgrades.
Better stop that vehicle.
That is amazing. It's like No Man's Sky again? I think so.
completely free. They've reworked the performance, revamped the controls, they fixed
And
bugs.
also, like, keep in mind too that they released this huge patch with this sale on the game for like 40% off or something like that. It was a massive discount.
Usability, added build variety, and listened to very specific criticisms
Better stop
from the
that
community.
vehicle!
Things like stamina balancing, boss scaling, mob density, co-op stability. It's rare to see a developer actually
Goodbye.
a game like
For
this.
now.
Sacrifice not for anything other than just wanting to make the game better for the product and in the future.
Destructive power.
Together to victory!
Now, a disappearance.
And when they do make that next game, this game will be trend graphics for the next
You are under my spell. Goodbye. For now.
Judge, jury, executioner!
I don't have to. Tencent already did. That's why they had
Chaos control. won't make the same. Goodbye.
I'm bright like a star.
It's clobbering time!
My magic is growing.
This has been tightened, feeling
Turned
much
up the
smoother than
heat
before
just
this.
for you.
Unique sound and better sound to every single weapon attack, blocks, and even parries, giving combat that better decision. Movement is
Yeah,
better.
the visuals are sorry, not the visuals. The audio cues and everything were very not good. People even brought that up in the trailer and didn't have a chance to play the game.
After dodging, dedicated jump button, smoother platforming, the
This is real firepower.
Got you.
jump.
And you also, like, remember what I was talking about with the platforming thing on, like, the side of the mountain? You had to
I won't make the
beat
same. Goodbye.
jumps
For
while
now.
you had these casters attacking you with ranged things that would knock you down. It was so annoying.
Getting stuck
Chaos
on
control.
environmental controls.
My magic is growing.
Gone far, adding a guidance mechanic allows you to navigate yourself when lost. I mean, they quite
I forgot about that when I was lost in this game for 2 hours. I wish I had remembered.
literally
Hurricane incoming.
Chaos control. The beacon has been dealt with.
I'm clocking some bad
A
guys.
disappearing.
It's clobbering!
You can now
Feeling
invite a
stronger
friend who
already.
doesn't own the game to come and play the entire thing with you co-op. No trial, no demo, the full game. You can play together, do all
Sorry.
Goodbye.
progression, and eventually if they want to pick up the game for themselves, well, they can pick it up
He's
right
stopped in their tracks.
now. I'll be honest with you.
Together to victory!
Just what I need, Struck.
Give this game a look. I've watched a few reviews, I've saw performance issues, I've heard complaints about map design, combat, didn't want to deal with it. I was so frustrated.
My work here is not done. My magic is growing.
There's still a chance to stop them. Better stop that vehicle.
It's true. The area that I did, not this area. Man, you did it dirty. I had such
Maximum! The powers of might!
Now might be a good time to stop them.
A lot. I've been playing it while Lords of the Fallen State. The narrative is relatively thin and not particularly well delivered. You still come across some random visual bugs
My
here
fate
or there,
isn't
like my
sealed
cloak
yet.
breakdancing around my neck. Enemy telegraphs can be a little inconsistent. Boss fights don't always.
Don't
deliver
mess with the amazing
impact.
Spider-Man!
But there is something incredibly charming about playing this game. It's like they accidentally created their own sub-flavor of the Souls genre. Something faster,
I a lot of that. I think the game plays pretty well.
Better stop that vehicle.
You're not going anywhere.
Tells you he's good and you're bad.
That's better.
I mean, fuck, it really didn't seem that complicated to me. Boring bosses. I think the bosses were like... So the only thing about this is that I think there were more bosses. I think the best boss in the game was
A disappearing.
Now or never. Stop them.
David or something like that. I think that was probably the best boss. But other than that, I think no spoilers. Why'd you spoil it?
Alright, that feels better.
Better stop that vehicle.
I won't make the same mistakes again.
engaging, leaning much harder into
you mean?
the fun
I'm
of these
bright like
games
a
rather than the
star.
difficult, though the game isn't without challenge. Lords of the Fallen doesn't really ask for your full emotional or mental investment to
False
play.
found Goodbye.
Don't give them another inch. Or else.
A game like this, it's like a lot of other Souls like this, it's not constantly on edge, it's not playing after every
so experienced and so skilled at playing it
Be right
that
back.
they now
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
continue to like basically feel and I think that's a huge like big problem because every single new Souls-like game that comes out it's built for people that have beaten Lies of P on New Game Plus 1 or 2. This game is completely unapproachable for a new player. Totally unapproachable. And whenever I say like totally, of course there are some people that play it, but I'm talking about like on an average.
Make the perfect game, but they've made something interesting, and more importantly, they never stop trying
You'll need
to
a
make it better.
top-notch team
And at
to
times,
win this
so
one.
many studios are content shipping broken products and never fixing them, maybe patch it once or twice and move on. Forge of the Fallen feels like a genuine passion project, something that they never wanted to give up on, and one that keeps getting better every time that you come back. In most cases, this game would have been long abandoned by now, but Hexworks and CI Games never gave up on it. They really wanted to make sure that this game would work, and honestly, they did it. They
You
pulled it
don't
off.
have
There's
to be a
something in that
witch to
not
find the
wanting to give
magic
up.
in this
Something
world.
in that iterative
But it does
process
help.
where you're trying to
And I think that
The
that's
multiverse offers endless possibilities, but only it survives this chaos.
Believe you can stop my grand scheme?
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
This is a really good idea, kind of like how Elden Ring had bosses like Melania, but otherwise, and like, you know, like Erdtree was really hard.
You cannot save Yggdrasil, nor can you save yourselves.
After all the times you've tried to
If we're
ruin my
talking about
life.
a game that failed once already, that had multiple reboot attempts, finally put out another one, and here they are improving that.
The battle
And
starts
I have
in
a lot of
5,
respect for that,
4,
because not only does it
3,
mean a lot to the player
2,
for just the game,
1.
but it also means a lot to me as a player who hasn't.
Come get that vehicle to its
Me
destination.
as a player that's now looking forward to what they work on.
I'm gonna drop the Jones album anytime I
I've been having a blast.
People can rely on you.
Watch
not
out,
to
they're
just
headed our
totally
way.
fucking, like, as soon as they run, okay, this game isn't going well. Bad boys, get in that ship, run away, and that's it. I feel like that's definitely kind of that's a very common thing that indie games have, is that
A nice deep freeze.
doesn't do
I won't
well
make you.
immediately, and then
Be
the
right
developers just immediately roach out.
Sponsored video YouTuber glazing. I
Yeah.
know. No, I've seriously been having a lot of fun. Because I'm happy I didn't play this game when it first came out, because I would have gone in with the wrong expectations. I would have I'm just having a really good time relaxing and playing something a bit more casual, something a bit more polished, slash take on the Souls genre. Share the game with me.
Goodbye.
Start trying.
I thought that was something that would deserve just praise.
I'm wounded.
This is the last time that I would expect to see something.
I like the cold. The gods themselves feeling stronger already. Some unlight chaos control. Be right there. Chin up.
This is effectively
Lovely sights. Pain makes things justify.
it's the exact same thing. You go over to your friend's house and you run
A nice deep freeze.
This is real firepower!
How this whole thing
Be
works.
right there.
Keep in mind, I've brought this up before. I said that while everybody else is their prices, the ones that are going to succeed are the ones that are going to undercut them. This is so
We must cut off the supply of Pronobia. Chin up.
Ah, that's better.
how you get players.
Our enemies are here. My life energy flows strong.
For a minute, their CEO of Psy Games has been
Get that vehicle moving
over the
again.
past few years.
Oh, boy.
Getting very involved in
It's the
discussing
grand
things, and,
finale.
things about the industry, to
That
say
I
the least.
completely agree with.
And I never imagined that they would go to this length to make good on the promise. They came forward saying that they want to be a player first studio.
This was inevitable.
How do you say no? You
Us against the world.
Feeling stronger already.
Gather around.
Regardless of whether or not it
I
works.
suck.
Love when things beasts. A shame they fight against us. I cannot under my spell. No,
Even bigger than that, Playing is something that a lot of people don't even think of as we're saying out loud. The freaking presence of personal ideology and political message, formative social narrative, studios that are just working on social media engagement and they do actually
Halfway there. Keep going.
This is real firepower!
doesn't belong here. Would be
that's it.
Let's be real, very few developers are willing to even look into this conversation because of the ever-present elephant in the room. Most videos, writers, commentators,
Under my spell. I care nothing for the truth.
Almost there. Don't turn back now.
Who's next?
Only 60 seconds left.
Didn't succeed. Instead of just reading the first 50 YouTube comments of the same people saying the same thing. There's always
Once I get you...
upsetting
My
to
fate
fans
is now a
that they've been
disappearing
defaulted
act.
into silent complicity more than anything else. Even when these games are
a
getting
lot of developers are afraid of
Down
designing
to 30
a game
seconds.
without, like, you know, the quote woke elements to it.
I
Because
tried to
they're
keep him out
worried
of trouble.
that the
Its name
Time
was
is not enough time.
Supply of Pronovium.
and you've seen this happen with multiple games already. So it's not like this is some kind of like made up bullshit. It's already
The
happening.
vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the
when
momentum.
the sales are going down, even when the
I need
fans are slowly
assistance.
walking away, everybody just stays silent.
Yeah, they just
But
stick
CI Games did the opposite. Sometime last year,
The beacon has been dealt with.
behind
Now, a disappearing act.
put players close, not just
Us against the world!
This is natural anger.
An opportunity. I want to make the second.
Traditional
Be
media
right
is
there.
even below influence.
Chaos control.
That's really bad.
I like it cold.
And also, essentially,
We must cut off Loki's supply of Pronovium.
Now, a disappearing act.
pulling people on how to attract them, you know, these characters live in a different
Grand
RPG.
finale.
Beautiful, sexy, and provocative. I'm here for gameplay.
Feeling stronger already. Pick up behind you.
This is real firepower!
Your fate is sealed.
Double kill.
Yes.
A disappearing act. The gods themselves are counting on us.
what players wanted when it came to
Face my
In
crows.
the Souls game,
You're halfway there. Keep going.
it's called playing magic. It's called
Chaos control. Not quite.
different body type.
should lead video game characters be widely
Feeling
considered
stronger
attractive.
already.
There. Don't turn back now.
My fate isn't sealed yet.
2.5% of retards.
Magic is not
Only
to be
60
owned,
seconds left.
but to be
This guy
felt.
for
Get that vehicle moving again.
Because he shows how transparently unpopular it is.
A shortcut.
In personal systems that nobody
Us against the world.
People very upset. In a medieval fantasy action
Down to 30
RPG
seconds.
experience, what do
Fists
you prefer
before
to
me,
choose between?
but
You will
I'll
follow
be the
final
best.
result. Body type A and B versus male and female. The obvious, common sense,
Get that vehicle moving
reasonable,
again.
non-mentally ill option obviously won in a resounding
The final 10
margin.
seconds.
And the reason why people in the industry hate it is because we thought we should look good.
Maximum pulse!
some kind of big dumb idiot? You taking stupid pics?
Agree or disagree with that decision, that's not really the point here. The point is, they asked their audience directly. They got an overwhelming response. They acted on it. This is what listening looks like. After making these changes, Merrick would then take things further. He would then take a stance and talk about how studios need to separate their personal politics.
You'll need a
from commercial
top-notch team
profit,
to win
saying
this
that
one.
The key is to separate social and political views of
I will bring peace to this universe, no matter.
You don't have to be a witch to find the magic in this world. But it does help.
2.3 million views with only 2,000 likes? Absolutely
I will bring peace. I will leave this universe a better place than it was before I was created.
The editorial,
as I said, we are absolutely winning this like battle.
30 seconds before you
And
attack. Get ready.
I will not stop until every
Hey, I
video
saw
game
that turret
journalist is back
you
to
want
work.
for it?
Not for sale.
Every single one of these
Everything's for
sensitivity
sale.
consultants
Maybe for
is
other
back to
people,
HR
not for
where they
me.
belong. Or they're maybe back to working at Starbucks or Walmart or whatever. We all
The battle starts in
a
5,
tremendous amount
4,
of progress.
3.
We have been
2,
actively destroying
1.
this industry
All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
to the reason why people are really upset about this is the fact
You're welcome.
Cosmic might return.
over 100 down.
Healing power.
I'm sure that helped.
Your soul unite. I require some aid.
Sites that have against everybody's will
Healing power. Is that turret truly necessary, Captain? You are safe now.
and a way of thinking into it
Neutralize the
without asking without any recognizing anybody who disagrees.
Quantum match.
That's it. Just one negative. One is how much of your content was. Hey, thank you for saying the way you.
Help get that vehicle to its destination.
I am an avatar for the average gamer.
Frank's doing what he does best.
Actually, what is going through the
Quantum
average
magic.
person with no filter. And that's why they really and that's also why
The Punisher brought out I suppose that helped.
This time I need healing.
Judge, jury, executioner!
Healing power.
You're halfway there. Keep going.
This is real firepower!
Against the world.
I'm just dying. Watch this.
Quantum match.
that's the by the means.
Healing would be helpful.
That's disrespecting the audience. You see, a lot of times people take short-term gains that are actually long-term.
Born again!
Is that turret true? The cosmos heals even.
I was fine. Thank you.
Safe now, my friend. Second chance is over.
By the eye of Agamotto!
I'll take good. They're on your tail. Quantum magic. We are in this together.
Almost there.
I am
Medicine.
I'm opening a portal. Majority of players.
Healing
Of
power.
course, the media did not take that well, and headlines popped up everywhere. Lords of the Fallen Dev is wrong about politics.
The vehicle reached the checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
The cosmos heals even.
Elden Ring proves it. And so the logic is that because Elden Ring
Battlefield
has
ready
bought
again.
Your
Souls united.
that like
That was a little messed
bought
up
the
there.
game because it's
Thanks.
like
My
less
cosmic
people
might
bought the
returns.
game
Once
for that
Dracula's
mail-in
down,
fee.
this war is over.
What are you talking about?
I wonder if I can steal that turret thing.
The cosmos heals you.
I suppose that helped.
That fucking hurts!
Some assistance, please.
Turn around!
That's right. That's right. You can make fun of it and complain and cry and get mad and call me whatever name.
Judge, jury, executioner!
We are in this together. Our foes have arrived.
Publisher uses anti-DEI as marketing meme.
Quantum
Song
magic.
and
Yeah, it works.
dance. Any pushback, nobody likes it.
That's it! Don't let anything stand in your way.
Since any social, political, or identity-first design is framed as ignorant as bigotry, even when the vast majority of players
This shield will serve me well.
A sexy blade!
By the eye of Agamotto!
Punisher's down.
Born!
When they introduce something like this into a video game, and then
Destiny
all the players
awaits.
reject it, and there's like a huge hate campaign
Get
against
that
the game.
vehicle moving again!
That's the goal. Yeah, that's the goal.
Children of the night shall not stop our mission.
You're ready,
Yet
bud?
my cosmic might returns.
What are these weird games anyway?
The cosmos heals you.
We want to serve our communities the best we can. Last year, we made it a part of our strategy is being players. That's not just a slogan, it's a reality.
The aid I required.
Leave them to Khonshu!
So
I'll get you out. Someone scratch my back.
The games industry was hijacked at some point by activists and ended up with a lot of false assumptions about
It did. And the reason why it got hijacked by activists is because
feeling power. I am at your service.
immediately will kowtow and capitulate.
You're welcome.
Cosmic might returns.
Some
Another epic victory! Big win!
Not stuff? No, of course not. They're totally different. They're bad and we're good.
so-called modern audience. I follow a very simple old concept. Make products your customers want. What's wrong?
You can't just do that. What?
Or controversial with that. Now, regardless of where you fall on these issues, I still think this is the key. The fact that something so basic, make what people want, has become so controversial tells you everything you need to know about the state of this industry today. The audience feels this overwhelming pressure being forced into almost every media product that they consume. It's not something that they ask for, and when they complain about it,
Well,
or they
it's actually something that they don't want.
try to ask a question, they are treated like social dissidents. These people are paying for these things. It's not that these things can't exist in games, it's just that you can't expect people to want it or like it. And if you want your customers to be happy,
Well, they think that they can bully people into being silent. And the fact is that they've been able to do that. They've been able to do that. And it's been, guys, it's been a long, like, how long have I really been, like, pushing and shitting on this stuff? I'd say, like, probably 3 years, right? Like 3 or 4 years? Like, seriously. Like, really, like, going in on it, etc., right? Since the Trump election? No. Longer than that. And, yeah, because that was only, like, what, a few months ago, really? Right after COVID? Yeah, pretty close after that. And think about how much progress we've made already. And also, after I'm fully done, getting rid of this, we will move on to something else. But and this is also like we are entering into the circling the drain phase of this behavior, right? What's next? Well, we'll just have to wait and find out. Of this crusade, yeah, I think, you know what? Crusade sounds really good. I like that word. Yes, against this crusade. Let the crusade continue. Exactly. And just like the Crusaders, after we raid one village, we gotta find another fucking village, right? I mean, damn.
You have to give them what they want, not what you want. When I asked Merrick about the...
That is actually such a good way to say it. Give the customers what they want rather than what you want.
growing divide between players and developers, the industry in general, and why so few studios seem willing to even ask any hard questions, he said something that really stuck with me. I think most of them are asking, but too often they ask selectively, avoiding questions they don't want to ask.
Yeah, if you don't talk about it, maybe it'll go away.
That quote cuts to the heart of the issue.
Yep.
Sure, we see plenty of studios pretending to engage, collecting feedback, sending out surveys, running community Q&A, but it's all incredibly curated, selective, sanitized.
Well, it's sanitized, retarded QA that's invented and created by a bunch of worthless HR people or marketing people that contribute nothing to the end product. They add no value to the company, and they'd be better off as janitors because at least then they'd be cleaning up shit rather than making the game shit.
They'll ask what weapon balance feels like, or what feature you want in the next patch, but they won't ask why players are feeling alienated, why character designs are getting roasted, or why games like Concord flop while games like Marvel Rivals take off. In a lot of cases, the industry simply isn't asking questions they don't want the answers to. Continuing my conversation with Merrick, I asked about what else they've been doing to improve their games.
Wait, you can do that? What?
Continuing my conversation with Merrick, I asked about what else they've been doing to improve
That's crazy. Wow.
their games and leverage player feedback, and he went on to say that CI Games recently started working with the same playtesting agency that helped FromSoft with Elden Ring. And while they're not designing by committee, they are validating their design through player feedback. Now that might seem obvious, but that's not how a lot of studios work anymore.
So let me get this straight. They thought, okay, well, the game that we were trying to copy didn't go very well, so why don't we just have the people that did playtesting for the game that we tried to copy playtest our game and then make it good? Huh. That seems like a pretty good idea. That makes sense. Yeah, I can see that.
Finally, I had asked him if this kind of transparency and player-first focus was just a phase or whether it was something they were going to be committed to long-term. He responded saying, "We made a promise to be player-first and we will stay fully committed to that. But the key focus will always remain on making the best games we can." Now look, I'm not going to say that CI Games or Hexwork are perfect. I'm not saying that every studio needs to agree with every player. Hell, I'm not even saying that every studio or publisher...
I think that it's very important that developers feel like they can make the games that they choose to make. And I think that's true with everything. That's why, for example, I was pretty positive about South of Midnight. I felt like this was a game that was made for an audience of people. I'm not necessarily a part of it, but this is an audience of people that does exist, and it has a right to exist. But I think the problem really of what happens is that there are people that, it's the parasitic relationship where they insert themselves into a franchise, into a fan base, or into a game or a studio that they're really not a part of, and then they try to actively change it to make it in line with what they believe. That's the big difference. You're a Southerner though, slightly for you? Yeah, I know. But like that's really it. That's entire right. Gamers want authenticity. They do.
should follow exactly what CI Games and Hexworks are doing. But if we want this industry to get better, to make games better, to rebuild trust that's been bleeding for years now, we need more of this. More honesty, more questions, more humility, more studios that are willing to say we were wrong and change course. More studios willing to listen. CI Games and Hexworks aren't just patching a game, they're patching a broken relationship between players, publishers, and studios. And Lords of the Fallen and its 2.0 patch is just the first step down that path. A move towards more transparency and real discussions is the only way that we're going to get better games. It's how this industry heals over time, because it does need to heal. It's been struggling for a while, and I'm sure this is going to lead to some tough conversations, and people's feelings are bound to get hurt, but it's the only way for things to get better. It's the only way for us to get better games, and for some of these people to be able to keep their jobs in some cases. I think far too often people want to die.
Also, that's a really good point that he's bringing up, is that these journalists are like the sirens in the, the Greek myths. They're singing a song of body type 1 and 2, and all of these big studios are crashing their boats on the rocks of DEI. Unironically, that's what's happening. They're being led astray, and they're destroying their studios. In the honesty, exactly. Yeah, I know this is like, it's a little bit, fucking ridiculous to say. But am I really wrong, though?
Away
The
from
DEI sirens, yes.
topics, and because of that, they then just dismiss whatever the other side has to say. When you got two walls that are screaming at each other, and neither one of them wants to move, well, nothing can happen. Can't have that. It's great to see how much Lords of the Fallen has improved. I love seeing a studio genuinely listening to their audience, implementing that feedback, iterating on that design, and improving their game. That's exactly what they've done. 2 years this game has been out. Like I said before, in most cases, it would have been long abandoned. They never gave up on it. It has been an absolute joy to play. I recommend it to everybody that's been watching this video. And
I beat the game. Like after I played it on stream, I knew I was going on vacation. I beat the entire game on stream.
while CI Games and Hexworks aren't going to get it right every single time, no studio ever does, at least these guys are trying. From my perspective, that's more than we get in a lot of cases. So I appreciate that. I want to give a huge thanks to you guys, the viewer, because if it wasn't for you, something like this wouldn't even be possible, this kind of collaboration.
It's also a really good point that he brings up here is that, you know, like, we really have to go and say a lot more often that we really do appreciate you guys that watch. Because, like, at the end of the day, like, he or I are really just primals in Final Fantasy. We're only as strong as the people who believe in us. And I think that there have been a lot of people who have been tremendously supportive and massively beneficial to, like, this movement. And it couldn't have happened without you guys. It really couldn't have. And I think the truth is that, I mean, you know, I'm just a guy on the internet, right? I mean, but you guys choose to watch my videos. You choose to listen to what I'm saying. You agree with it. You support me. And, I mean, we're really lucky to have that. And I don't really say that enough. I think a lot of people don't say it enough. But it's really because of you guys that all this is happening. That's the truth.
Be possible. I want to give a huge thanks to Lords of the Fallen for sponsoring this video. Make sure that you guys go and check out the 2.0 update. It will be live by the time this video has gone up. I've been playing it. I've been really enjoying it. If you have the game, re-download it. Invite one of your friends to come and play it for free. If you don't have the game, they have wildly deep discounts across the board. PlayStation Store, Xbox, Epic Game Store, Steam, all up to 70% off on almost every single platform. Go check it out. Go give the game a buy. Definitely worth your money. And yeah, that's all I have. I'm actually gonna hop off and play a little bit more. Thank you guys for watching.
Just added a narrative. The funny thing about this video is I've already watched it in my own mind. I know everything that this video is going to say. I know every point that he's going to make. I know the entire thing, and I cannot wait to watch it. Like, I pre-watched it in my streams. Yeah, prove it. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. And can you rotate an apple? What do you mean by rotate it? No, why the fuck would I have an apple? No, I can rotate a Dr. Pepper can.
Watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, share the video with your friends, and come follow me on Twitch. Watch things live. Bro. Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe.
I am so fucking glad this happened. and I'm also so glad that the 2.0 update has been received so well by players. It is so fucking funny for me to see this because I think there's a video right there. Make sure to give it a like. And I think it's just going to become more and more common now. More and more you're going to see people pushing back against this, and not only are they going to push back against it, but they're going to receive such a tremendous amount of support that they're going to, you know, you're going to see more and more people doing it. And by the game just on principle, yeah, I mean, I played it. I thought it was really good. I mean, I did. I played it a lot. A one-button auto rotation? Wait, what? Breaking news. Is implementing a rotation assistant? Wait, what? Single button assistant?
Welcome to a special edition of WoWcast, where we're going to talk about a patch 11.1.7 feature, and then a broader discussion about add-ons in World of Warcraft in general. I'm Gratnos, World of Warcraft content creator.
I'm Max, I'm the raid leader of Team Liquid, the WoW Guild, and a content creator as well.
And I'm Ian Hasekopoulos, game director on WoW, and it's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
So,
very excited to be here.
Okay.
So what are we doing in 11.1.7?
A whole bunch of fun stuff, but one of the features that we're extra excited about is a new UI option that we're adding called Rotation Assist, which is really designed to help players who are maybe
enables highlights that suggest the spell to cast. So it tells you how to play the game?
You spec or want some guidance on what abilities they should be using when, without having to turn to third-party add-ons for it. So we've seen that, you know, there's an add-on called Hekili that is very popular with a lot of players. We're basically building in a very similar version of that into the base UI that you can opt into. That will, no matter what DPS spec you're playing, highlight the recommended next ability given, you know, your current energy, what's going on around you, and so forth. One extra thing that we're also going to do, which maybe goes a bit beyond
this isn't April Fools,
is also have a one-button version of that, where there'll be
oh my god! Single button assistant.
Like a keybind that if you just want almost an auto rotation,
so you get to play the game with a garage door opener now.
Opt into that, and it will just automatically cast the next recommended ability in the sequence. There'll be a small GCP penalty associated with that, but we want to make sure that this is for accessibility purposes, that it's there for people who maybe just honestly aren't interested in the gameplay of like mastering their spec. They want to explore Azeroth and experience the story, and the mechanics kind of get in the way of that sometimes. This should be for them. Ideally, this is not a tool where someone is like being told by their raid leader to stop trying to DPS manually. This is not a tool where someone is like being told by their raid leader to stop trying to DPS manually and just turn on the one-button mode to meet some DPS check. That will want to give you the tool.
Well, of course they would be. No, of course, Ian's wrong. So because, okay, so this is what would happen, right? Is that... So the red line is the artificial one-button DPS. And this is manual. So if you are inside of this area here, you will be told by your raid leader, just turn on the one-button mode, stop trying to play the game yourself. And if you're not in this mode and you're over here, you're going to be told to do it yourself. How does he know how the fuck? Like, these are the best players that have played the game for 20 years. How the fuck do you guys not see this obvious crowd? What the hell is going on? This is crazy.
Manually and just turn on over something like that sometimes. this should be for them. Ideally, this is not a tool where someone is like being told by their raid leader to stop trying to DPS manually and just turn on the one button mode to meet some
Absolutely.
DPS check. That would want to give you the tools to.
I remember I even did this with my mom. Because she was like, I don't know how to DPS. I say, okay. Hit Starfire. After you're done hitting Starfire, hit it again. Just do that. And yes, the best Moonkin rotation was more complex than that. But her interpretation of that rotation was worse than her just spamming Starfire. So I just had her spam Starfire. And everything was fine. Yeah, well, I invented this in 2009.
Go through that organic progression, actually.
Great. But so the rotation assist doesn't come with a penalty or anything like that. That's just we're going to show you what your next button is.
Exactly.
Right.
It's very similar to the Keeley add-on. It's kind of reflecting, just the latest kind of established theory crafting, and it's something that we would continue to update, with spec changes and cost changes over time. Ideally, it all is born out of the idea that we've seen a valuable tool that players feel like they should be looking outside the games to download. We'd rather just reduce the barriers to that and make it available to everyone.
This game is so lost, it's actually insane. It's actually crazy to me that we are even in this position. It is so cooked that I can't even believe it. So why don't we try to employ a little bit of higher level thinking here? If the problem is that you need an add-on to play your character, maybe you should make characters easier to understand and play. Have you ever thought about that? That maybe you don't need 50,000 fucking buttons and rotations and pop-ups and, special, no, that's it. So basically, they're creating a problem, and now they have to solve the problem that they've created. It's just insane. It's basically like all Blizzard had to do was make a wheel, but they couldn't do a wheel. They had to make a hoverboard. In order to make a hoverboard, you have to have the right kind of wood. And then so then you need a seatbelt for the hoverboard because sometimes people can fall off the hoverboard. And what if the hoverboard goes too fast? Okay, well, you have to have a speed limiter on the hoverboard. And then on top of that, what are you going to use for fuel? How much is the fuel going to cost for the hoverboard? And this is all, we're doing all this stuff instead of just thinking about how to make a wheel. It is crazy the amount of gymnastics that they're going through in order to appease these top 0.001% players that play the game as a job instead of making the game better for everybody. This needless, unnecessary complexity that can only be basically responded to with further needless, unnecessary complexity and weird systems that simply remove gameplay from the game. It's insane. How the fuck did this happen?
Okay, yeah, because there's two parts there, right? Like the advanced is, I want to really go into this is the one button. But that's not necessarily everyone that's going to use this. Like, I think this game, especially new players getting into it, it can be, there's a lot going on within a particular class, and you can be a little lost trying to figure out exactly what I should be pressing. So even just using it as...
Then shouldn't you address that problem rather than introduce a solution to remove it? I think that's a design problem. If a person can't, easily understand how to play their character in a video game, maybe that's a problem with the way the game is designed. Duh.
Like as a guide to start learning your class and move off of it eventually, but just having a base understanding of what actually should I be doing at a base level.
If I play retail WoW again, I'm 100% just using this button. I'm putting it on spacebar too.
of this.
That's really exactly the motivation on our end, and especially with warbands from War Within, we see lots and lots more alts, and leveling is pretty quick. You got a bunch of warbound and equip gear that you're passing over to a new character, and just jumping into their full rotation. You've never played the spec seriously before can be a pretty serious undertaking. And for some people, this may be enough for them, and that's fine too. But we recognize that there's so much. WoW has such a high skill ceiling that just recommend.
Why? For who? For these people that you constantly talk to, that are these people play your game as a job. And you're constantly listening to them on how to maintain that complexity. This is so distorted, it's unreal.
What the next ability isn't going to really remove that or fully solve it. There's still the muscle memory to perform, and then all of the nuances of we might have a recommendation for a rotation that makes sense if you're fighting a target dummy, you're fighting patchwork, but when you need to plan around the fact that you're going to have to move in 4 seconds, that's a whole different layer of skill that still rests with players.
Yeah, I know when I'm trying to, play a new spec for the first time or haven't played it in years, it often feels like I've got a 30-minute checklist of, okay, I gotta set up my keybinds, gotta make sure, oh, this ability's changed since 2 expansions ago.
They're so close. They're so close. They almost understand. You're so fucking close to solving the problem.
I gotta rebind that, and then I gotta go and read some guides and figure out how all my new rotation works, and oh, here's how the new set bonus works, so I could see it being really nice to just have a...
So it would be really nice to just have a button that just does everything for you. Why not make it easier so you don't need the button? Well, what the fuck is it? This is...
This is a way to jump into some content to do with your friends and have it work out nice and easily.
Is that right?
One thing that jumps out to me is that a lot of the content I'd want to do would be delves or keys, and in either of those cases, there's a lot of AoE. Yeah. Is this going to have a, are we going to detect whether we're fighting 3 targets, 5 targets, and is it going to cast my Arcane Explosion instead of my Arcane Blast, or
it should be able to.
Always going to be a single target?
It's not just single target. There is some sense of how many enemies are within your range in front of you, etc. And so that will affect the recommendations. Again, the goal is not optimal. The goal is not this is gonna okay, everyone's always gonna get perfect parses and so forth going forward. But as a baseline, this should be it should be useful the same way that many people find it to be useful today. And really, a lot of this building on the foundations of the cooldown manager.
This game is so cooked, it's actually insane. I'm looking... You know what? Real ones remember this. It's the same one. It's the same one. Unbelievable.
That just came out in 11.1.5 that reflects us hearing people in the community telling us that they feel like they need to seek out these third-party resources just to play the game at
This is like watching an advertisement for one of those scam phone games where it's a guy with a machine gun is moving back and forth, and one of them says add 100 and it says subtract 1, and then he goes into the one that says subtract 1 and he dies. It's so easy. Everybody can see what you're supposed to do.
A baseline effective level in competitive content, and us asking is that where we want the game to be in the long term, and what can we do to build in native solutions to many of these problems?
The base concept of it, there is this will help you learn what you're supposed to do if you are new, and then there is hey, like understand the story. I want to quest. I want to level, right? And I don't want to feel like I can go into any content and I just don't really know what I'm doing. I feel anxious about that. Like you have the ability to just be like, okay, well at least Blizzard's got me. You know, I can have something at a base level where I can press one button and just kind of hang out and play the game. I have one question. About the actual rotational thing. So is that going to like change a talent? So like let's say, is it going to work off the base talent build, or let's say you select a talent that now moves a AoE button into your single target rotation? Is it going to be smart enough or plan to be smart enough to incorporate a bunch of different potential talent builds?
The goal is that it's aware of your talents, and the logic is conditional based on what you do or don't have talented.
How is it that you guys don't get this? This is honestly, when will WoW players stop eating shit? Listen, if Blizzard needs, all right, I will take a month off of my stream and I'll fix the game. Okay? I have to be able to stream a period of time, but I'll fix the game. And you're not gonna like what I do, but I'm gonna fix it. Just give me autoplay. The thing is that here is the paradox of autoplay. If a game requires autoplay, why do you have gameplay that's so meaningless that people don't even want to do it? That's the same problem here. And ironically, a Korean MMO figured this the fuck out with Throne and Liberty. It's like Amos says, yes, pay to autoplay. Well, yeah, I mean, listen, I have an E6 S5 fucking Acheron in Star Rail, okay? Like, I couldn't afford my car because I bought that character. So I understand it. But at the same time, this is a garbage, Chinese, gotcha, trash, pay-to-win, piece of shit game. I expect more out of World of Warcraft.
As with, this is going to be something.
And the Star Rail, here's the best part. Who here thinks the Star Rail autoplay is going to be better than this? Everybody knows it.
Continues to evolve. We may not have every single possible permutation accounted for in the version that we roll out with.
Yes.
But it should still be very useful in that form to everyone, and we'll just get the time from there. Similar to the cooldown manager that we know is like, as a first take at this, we have plans to add much more customization, much more functionality to that over time as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a really exciting feature individually. The thing that's most exciting to me is in the broader context of the cooldown manager, of all these other edit mode changes that have come out.
I'm just going to say it. I think people like this are really into games. I think that these hyper elitist, super uber 1% players are in the ears of Blizzard, constantly pushing for them to make the game more complex, design the game around Mythic, and this is not the way a game should be made. You shouldn't be making a video game, listening and consulting with people like this. And the problem, why is the solution to this not removing these complexities in the first place? It's because people like this keep begging them not to, because their entire fucking career is based off of it. That's it. The reason why this problem exists is because of the premise that you need all of these people to somehow, for some reason, go and be professional WoW players. This is what it's all about. It's indirect sabotage. It is. The game is designed around these hyper-serious, super professional players, and everybody else has to play a worse version of the game because of it. That's the truth. Blizzard should never be listening to these people. World of Warcraft is not a competitive game. It's just not. Stop trying to make it a hyper-complex, omega competitive game, and just simply make the game fun to play, easy to understand, and intuitive to learn. These sweats killed every fucking game. And Blizzard has let these people infest and ruin the game ever since Cataclysm. Ever since Cataclysm, they kept making the game harder and harder and harder and more and more complex. And I think that they have done so much damage to the game. It doesn't help anybody. It's awful. It's not fun. Really, it's just simply not fucking. Cata was 100% the cutoff. Yes, they killed casual playing. They did. Because these are people that their job is being good at the game. So they will always want the game to maintain those different like skill gap differences in ceilings so they can maintain that level of superiority over other players. That's it. Sweats ruin every fucking game. Blizzard wanted to fix this. They would remove half of the fucking buttons, at least. They would remove half of the effects. Why the fuck do you have polymorph and hex? Why do you have horrify and fear? What the hell is wrong with you? What are you, retarded? What the fuck is this? This complexity is so unnecessary. It's so meaningless. And it's just confusing, it's weird, it's hard to understand, it makes the game completely unapproachable, and it's like these people have never played anything else other than World of Warcraft, and I know that's not true. I know Dragnos and Max have played other games, but these people are actively making the game worse by making sure that it retains this competitive edge that is killing it.
There was a time 5 years ago in WoW where if you were just getting into the game, there was an intimidating list of these are the add-ons that you need, and if you're not using these, you're kind of worse, right? Like you're noticeably worse. Like you can't track.
You're 99% of the way there.
Your group member's major cooldown, right? Like you're worse at Mythic Plus than somebody who is, right? And it seems like the goal that has been accomplished with a lot of these things that are coming into the base UI is you can use those add-ons if you want, but we now have a native way to the game. You don't have to get add-ons.
That's pretty much exactly our long-term philosophical goal here, right? Like add-ons are amazing.
God!
This is the end? It's not the end. It was the end years ago. I haven't balled it out about WoW in months, man. It's been months. I've been clean. And this had to bring me back in. Does anybody even like what are people saying about it? They're all happy? Thanks for coming to our tour. A lot of people have a lot of passion for the game, and that comes to an interview. No! Fuck! It's dead! It's dead! They're killing it! Oh. It's over, guys. It's over. The game's dead. Check McConnell's DM. Honestly, McConnell messaged me something the other day. It made me sad. I didn't even respond back to it. It did. It made me really sad. I'm gonna show it real quick. This is gonna fuck y'all up real quick. Holy fuck! There it is.
fucking Twitch Primes in chat right now. This is a big, big fucking deal. Huge.
I've been working at this for a long time. Now you can delete BFA? I guess so. Thank you. Holy shit, that's a god damn, yo boys, yo, thank you. God, what the fuck? Thank you boys so much. This is one of the main.
The things that the community has done over the last 20 years to allow people to experience different aesthetics, different functionality, have information available at their fingertips, like that is a huge part of WoW's success, and we don't question or want to undermine that for a moment. At the same time, like as you said, ideally it is about what do you want? How do you prefer to have things presented to you? And not what do you have to do? What is a group mate or raid leader or whatever telling you you must download? Or if you ask people, hey, how can I get better? I'm really struggling with this. The first answer shouldn't be, well, download this add-on, this add-on, and this add-on, otherwise you're feeling alone. Because that's starting to get into that mandatory place, whether we like it or not. So yeah, I think, longer term, these initiatives kind of fit into part of...
No, it's not a joke. This is what they're doing.
How we're thinking about
this makes me feel like I'm actually mad. No, I'm gonna say it right now. I'm actually mad about this. They're killing the game.
Today, there is a sense that if you want to really be the best you can, if you want to play competitive content, there are certain add-ons that are required, that are simply going to improve your success. Period. We would like to get away from that being the case. I'd love to see a WoW one day where you can still... customize the aesthetic look of your UI. You can have information, quest helpers, and all the other things that you might want to have to make your experience a bit more seamless. But that at the end of the day, when you're in competitive content, when you're queuing up for a rated PvP match, going into a high peak, and you're trying to get a first kill on a raid boss, there isn't the sense that you are just holding yourself back if you're not using specific tools.
I know.
We know that there's a lot of work to do to get to a place where that could be the reality. The first steps really are going to be continuing to build up the just right out of the box functionality that World of Warcraft offers to shrink.
The first... This is not good for your mental health. I just... Have you ever thought what's going to happen with bots for this change? Doesn't matter. Bots will always be able to do things. It's not good for ball pressure. They'll never ban add-ons because it patches up shitty design.
Break that gap. But at the same time, I think we're aware that at the very end of this process, we probably are going to have to rein in some of the functionality that add-ons currently have to do like real-time in-combat problem solving specifically, where it's like automating coordination.
This is the easiest, most fucking obvious answer. Yes, you don't want add-ons that calculate things. You don't understand that add-ons that calculate things and add-ons that increase your awareness of things are the same thing, because both of them affect the amount of mental RAM that you're using. And so if you have an add-on that changes your awareness, it tells you when something is happening, that's not that much different than an add-on that can calculate who goes in what hole and when. The reason why is because both of these are active decision-making things that you are doing during the fight. Like, this is it's all this what hole. No, it's the Mythic Jailer, right? Is the example I was thinking.
Communication in ways that are always going to be better.
So, like, here's the solution. Stop making fights like Mythic Jailer. Fucking duh.
There's a reason why every other fucking MMO says that add-ons are cheating. It's crazy.
Then anything the UI can natively provide you as long as they remain possible.
Yeah, so that moves us into like raid bosses where I don't want to name any names, but there are people who have optimized a little bit of their own fun out of the game sometimes.
Everything's fine. It's not. It's just a game. Right? It's just a game. And I spent 20 years playing this fucking game. 20 fucking years playing this shit.
And it's been taken over by these professional sweats that want to ruin a game that millions of people used to love, and in a lot of cases still do love, because of their bullshit.
I don't know where any of them might say. They could be anywhere. They could be in this room with us.
Hey man, I am the like number
They
one.
are in the room with you. There's 3 of them.
Let's just YOLO this. Let's just do the fight. Let's make it work. And then sometimes it gets to let's try to make something that could be 95% successful, 100 or 99, right? And there's a lot of frustration with the tech involved with that. I would definitely be. I think a lot of the rating community would be pretty for that. You know, I think a well-designed mechanic that the game giving you enough.
To be fair, you did help contribute to the hyper-min-maxing in the game. You're right. If you're watching the react, there's 4 people. No, you're absolutely right. And this is the best part, is like, I was the problem. Like, and that's the thing, like, I'm just gonna say it. Who was the problem? Me. I was the problem. That's it.
Information to solve this on your own realistically. A lot of the times the community will just use one because it's like what everyone else uses gets you in the same place. But if that doesn't exist and the game is giving you that information, it's objectively better, right?
And even if you were doing it very well,
is it objectively better to get raid information from native you?
manually, it's always going to be better to do it perfectly in a competitive situation. I mean, having watched, you know, your raid leading, for example, over many, many years over the Race to World First, like years ago, you would call much more stuff verbally.
Very
like
true.
going back to the
How is this even on their radar? How is this even being discussed? It's like 50 people. This is so... I can't believe... How is this happening to me? Max is going to say Asmon doesn't play the game anymore? Exactly. That's the point. There's way more people that have quit the game than are playing it.
the you know, Legion, BFA era, whereas nowadays it seems like if there is something you're calling repeatedly on attempts, the first thing you're doing is asking if, hey, can we automate this and get me out of the business of talking, which seems like it might be less enjoyable for you as a raid leader.
Yeah, oh, I mean, we're talking about that. I could talk all day about that. Yeah, no, I mean, I felt like you certainly had more of an impact when you had the ability to, you know, influence the fight more. But the reality is just getting some way to automate it for your players is just better. You know, it is funny. Like when I do that now, I think, you know, well, what else can I be doing with my time? I could be like looking at other ways to optimize, and it's purely for the sake of getting better. So yeah, for my own enjoyment, yeah, that's sweet. Let's do that. I'm trying to wonder also about those kind of mechanics. So like what bosses have existed in my head, I think in the past couple of years, not many, but have been defined by when we're progressing this boss, we feel like maybe we're progressing.
How are you listening to people that are playing the game as a job in the best guild in the world and getting feedback on how you need to design the bosses based off of that. How are you doing this?
Or something like Brood Twister or Echo Meltharion or Jailer maybe was one of the first ones, right? And those mechanics, I feel like, could not have been done. Probably would have been nerfed without League Wars or having that effectiveness of that reduced. What do you do as a fight designer now? Do you I know you're obviously like really passionate about raiding. You've raided for a really long time. Do you have to avoid those kind of assignment mechanics? Are there things in game you can?
Does this differ from your elitist videos from years ago? You wore the sweat? Of course. Do you think the Race to World First, MDI, and esports for Blizzard are affecting the situation? Absolutely they are. Absolutely. The problem is that the game is built around a very small subset of hyper hardcore players, and it's built around maintaining their relevancy and maintaining some form of difference between them and the average player. So the game is handicapped and hamstrung in order to maintain these artificial skill gap differences. I'll be right back. All right. Here we go.
Used to like naturally sort out those things, like you give more time to mechanics, like you have to stray away from assignments in general because the community has just, whether you like it or not, has like trained themselves to have something solve that for them. Do you have to like go back and
the
like
community's
fault
fault.
That? Do you find other ways to make fights difficult? There's obviously a bunch of ways to do that.
The way we design encounters has been influenced in significant ways by the way players use add-ons. I know, the community sometimes speculates that, oh, we like this was built.
Obviously. So you have the entire game that's being designed. Like, it's just, this game is so lost, bro. Like, it's so lost, and there's so many problems. Like, I don't know if it's ever going to change or improve or anything. Like, like, how are you designing the game for add-ons? Like, it's just unreal. Vanilla's the only good version left. I don't understand. It needs a reset? Why? So they could put this in the base game? No, the problem is I think WoW does need a reset, but the same people that are making WoW 1 are going to make WoW 2, and it's going to be the same problems with the same game. That's the issue.
Clearly to require an add-on. I can't say that's never the case. No encounter designer is ever sitting around saying, all right, we're going to make this mechanic, and then players will write this record to solve it this way. All right, mission accomplished, let's ship the boss.
This is a super long video. I'm not going to go through the entire thing. I pretty much just want to look at the beginning, but like, this is crazy for me. Potty C on tour, native replacements for weak auras, we're 100% gearing up for console launch, raid frames need a major overhaul. Dude. How has this happened, man? Did you react to the auto rotation they're adding? Yeah, I reacted to it. I think that the auto rotation in this game is reminiscent of everything that I think is wrong with it. I think that Blizzard has constantly created problems and then has to invent solutions in order to get themselves out of the problem that they put themselves in the first place. I think this is just simply another example of Blizzard not understanding and having any way of like intuitively like getting the way that players think. It is more designed around the 1%. And I know that it might not make sense to you. You might be like, how's it designed around the 1% if it's accessibility to make everybody play the game? It's simple. It's because the game should be at a baseline to where you don't want to use a one-button rotation. The game shouldn't be designed in a way that it's so complex that you have people defaulting to use an option. You have to program and like fucking AI in an option into the game so it can autoplay your character for you, because there's so many levels of complexity, you can't even understand it without 3 different add-ons. Like Conduit Energy, yeah, that's a perfect example. Blizzard has always had this problem. And I think this is a fundamental problem with WoW. They have always had this problem that they do not understand why the game is good, how players think, and they always try to effectively, instead of actually revert back from decisions, they try to just build in more fail-safes from their bad decisions in the first place. So what's happening is that you have all of these systems that are put in the game that are compounded on each other, and you have all these different like mechanics and this design. Like if I watch the way that these new raids are played, like look at this, like for example, right? I'll just pull up a random WoW stream, okay? Let me see. We'll pull up, and I want you guys to see how ridiculous this is. This is insane. Really, this is the new raid. This is absolutely crazy. Why is this happening? And that's basically why. I think that no, the damage meters are not basic UI, by the way. No, it's not. But either way, it's not that bad, to be honest. Yeah, it is bad. It's bad. Nobody's going to see something like that and say, oh, this is great, I want to keep doing this. If I can pull up Arena, it's even worse. And so anyway, I think this is really the problem that the game has, is that they constantly make it more and more and more complex. And then instead of actually reducing that complexity and moving away from it, instead of that, they just add in ways to avoid the complexity entirely. The problem is the complexity. So if you involve, like basically, it's like you're building, a river, and now you need to build a bridge to go over the river. You should have never built the river in the first place. The problem is the river. The bridge is a band-aid. And this is the issue that I think this game has, is that there's so much complexity to it. There's so much designed around it. And as I said, I'll be honest, I think it's guys like this that are professional players of the game that want to maintain the race to world first. They want to maintain the complexity of the game because it is their job. You need to stop listening to people that play the game for a living, and you need to start looking at what makes a good experience for a person playing the game. Imagine how shitty Elden Ring would have been if it was designed for people that beat Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 1, Sekiro, and Bloodborne. It wasn't. It was designed for people coming into the franchise and they wanted to play a new game. Every boss is Malenia. Yes, every boss would be Malenia. Isn't that you, though? No, I'm not playing the game as a job. Yeah, no, that's it. You're saying a game shouldn't be optimized for players like yourself? That is absolutely what I am saying. I am absolutely saying do not design the game for the top 1% of sweats, because if you do, they're the only ones who will keep playing it. That's exactly what I am saying. I must not seen your Elden Ring playthrough? Yeah, just don't raid Mythic, man. Just keep doing Heroic. I don't know. But, like, that's the whole problem that you have. Like, just don't do Mythic. Okay, just don't do the hard content that's really complex, that's rewarding, that gives you the best gear, because we've made it needlessly complex. Why does it need to be that complex as a baseline in the first place? Who decided this? Well, I'll tell you who decided that. Top 0.001% players that need to use this content as a either job or an ego meter so they can feel better about themselves. This is not a good way of designing the game. You guys are coping so hard, you're not the target audience? I know. That's why I stopped playing. Duh. That's exactly what I've said before. That's my whole point. Yes, that's like, duh. Until design completely crashes the player base, this will keep going on. I quit integrating, sit and wipe 400 times on one boss after my long day at work. Yes. Destiny 2 had a similar problem because the director's a 1% raider. Look at Yoda's stream right now. He's pushing Mythic. Let me see. Yoda, where's Yoda?
I'm not sure really if I can find it there or not. Let me see. Okay. This is crazy. Really, this is insane.
What's really sad is like this, like on the video, Cook Wow is, my friend. Yeah. Cook Wow is. I guess this is just the way it is now, guys. I feel like, honestly, the game, I am no longer the target audience for the game. I think this was done partly by Blizzard and partly by me. Obviously, I haven't played WoW, retail WoW, in quite a while. It sounds kind of sad to say because, you know, it used to be like my main game. I used to love retail WoW. I would play it constantly. But nowadays, I just simply don't have the same level of enthusiasm or interest in it anymore. And I think this is one of the really big reasons why. And I think it's super sad to see that happen. And you should attempt to casual play to the max level. Why? I mean, like, I just don't go back to the cave. Yeah, it's boring and lame now. Yeah, I guess so. Bro remembers Burning Crusade. Yeah, I remember Burning Crusade, man. I do. And you just grew up. I didn't grow up. I mean, it's not about growing up. It's just my interest changed and I stopped doing the same thing because I've been doing it for a long time and I wanted to do other stuff instead. It's not even that, but Google WoW Classic Raid UI, literally nothing changed over the years. Yes, it has. There's too many things happening on the screen. You can't tell me that a boss that does 20 different things is the same thing that Chromagus is. It's insane. I don't know. I guess this is just another example of me being more certain that I'm no longer the target audience for the game. And as somebody who is a huge fan of the game for years, I'm disappointed in that, and it's frustrating. That's it. That's the way I feel. It's frustrating. It's sad. Yeah, it is. But if they made your changes, would you start playing again? I'd be more likely to. I mean, I don't want to say I'm going to play the same way I used to. Like, I'd probably play sometimes for sure. Like, same as I played Season of Discovery when it came out. But in a general sense, I mean, do I want to go back and play... Do I want to go back and play this game super hardcore forever? No, I don't. But that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be designed that way. Those little screenshots are just neat if somebody uses 4 different raid frames. Yeah, I think so too. But you ever got great memories that involve WoW? It's undeniable. Yeah, I think so. But I just feel like this problem, this solution, what this tells me is that the game is not going to get better anytime soon. And I understand that there's a lot of people that play retail WoW and they still like retail WoW. They think it's a great game. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you have something that you enjoy. But I just can't get into it. That's all there is to it. I just can't get into it. It's not my thing. And Blizzard's a business. They have to chase the money. I mean, then why are you making it for the 1%? You should make the call. Do not cover WoW anymore until you feel like it's going in the right direction. That's, I mean, like, why do I have to make a call? Like, I'm just going to talk about it if I feel like there's something interesting to talk about and not if there's not. I mean, I don't make decisions like that. Like, I don't need to, like, draw lines in the sand with myself all the time. Like, I just do what I feel like doing. So, I don't know, man. Did you hear another Creator Clash fighter dropped out of the event? Yeah, I did, actually. I'll look at that in a minute. It's all Max's fault because he defends weak auras religiously. They need to ban weak auras. So the problem is that they don't understand that weak auras are not the problem. They are a solution to the problem. The solution would not necessarily need to exist if the problem in itself was solved. The problem is that the game is too overly complex, and it doesn't give you the tools to understand what's happening in a way that's digestible for an average person. And it's over-designed to the point that it is a sensory overload for an average player. If people can't understand that, then I don't think you know what it's like for a new player to get into it. It's Paladin solution? Yes, exactly. People use weak auras in Classic too? Yeah, but they don't need to. That's the difference. Everybody will always optimize the fun out of the game, but the difference is that in retail WoW, you basically need to. In Classic WoW, you don't. Isn't it a vicious cycle? It's like over-designed because they expect a weak aura? Yeah, it is. And they're even, like, Ian is even saying this. He's saying that we over-design fights because of weak auras, basically. Like, yes, is encounter design influenced by add-ons? He says, yeah, it is. Okay, well, that's bad. Which makes weak auras the problem? Okay, all right, look, listen, I understand, but, like, I think weak auras are also a problem. But what my point was is that weak auras, at least in retail WoW, are a symptom of a problem. Like, I think they're both problems. Just remove add-on life support? Yeah, I know. Song is a good model with the hard modes and stuff? I don't know. I haven't, it's just... How's the WoW Reddit taking this? When they got dinars? Oh my god. Nice for Potty C hosts small creators like Ian, Official News. These are good foundations. We need to have add-ons like weak auras frequently updated and rebuilt. Given what their initial version was of the cooldown, man. Is done. Yep. It's just that's it. That's just the way it is, boys. That's life. Man, people seem pretty positive. Maybe you're wrong. Of course they do. I think of course they do. Because, so this is the reason why. I think that WoW has had a seemingly, like, from every observable metric that I can find in terms of, like, let me look at this, like, for example. Oh, actually, it's because, like, this is a problem primarily with retail. So you can look on Classic and Season of Discovery and Hardcore, etc. And they'd all be kind of be lumped into this. So, like, Google Trends probably wouldn't work as a good example for this. But here's what I can say, is that, are they just eating it? Yeah, they're eating the shit. Shorekeeper felt? Yeah, I was trying to make the character better. And, yeah, I got the character in Wuthering Waves. But anyway, add-ons are great for Cocomelon Brain. Anyway, what's happened is that, of course, the remaining people that are playing the game won't like this because the game's made for them. What my point is that basically... So here's the problem, okay? This is the WoW player base, okay? We're just gonna use this as an example. So here's the entire WoW player base. It's the green, okay? The problem is that, just a second, sorry. Basically, these are all the people that have already stopped playing the game. And then the remaining people, obviously, a lot of them like it. Some of them might not, but some of them do. What I'm saying about this is that these decisions are just about maintaining this part right here, and they never think about this massive amount of people that have totally been lost by the game. You see kind of what my point is with this is that there's a huge audience of people that have played WoW over the years, and none of these changes and none of these implementations ever bring back new players. They just get old players to not, or sorry, current players to not quit the game. That's it. Myself included, I haven't played for about 6 years. They're writing them off as people whose opinions no longer matter. Exactly. And like basically that's what's happened, is that now the people that are playing the game all the time are the ones whose opinions matter, which in some cases I think makes sense. But the problem is that the result of it is that the entire game now is designed around those people. And as the game becomes increasingly smaller and smaller and smaller, what you're going to have is you're going to have this audience of people. Of course they're happy about it because they're the only ones that are left. And it's been designed for them in the first place. Fighting games, Street Fighter, imports modern controls, single button assistant will be amazing for accessibility. That's a totally separate thing. Like if you were adding this purely for people that have accessibility problems, then I would be completely okay with it. But here's the reality. So my mom back in the day, she had accessibility problems. The reason why is because she had really bad eyesight, right? She was old, she had bad eyesight, her hands were fucked up. And she had to quit playing the game seriously in about really Cataclysm. Cataclysm was the thing. The reason why the game isn't accessible is because there are too many things happening at the same time, and it's overwhelming for a person. That's the reason why it happens. Of course, they're catering to people still playing. Why wouldn't they? Well, it's a sub game. Blizzard makes money from subs. Why would they listen to they haven't played WoW in 6 years? Fuck that game, people. Because there's more people that haven't played WoW in 6 years than are people that are playing WoW right now. That's the reason. We're getting an expansion, not to Oblivion, not to Skyrim, but to Conquer. I didn't expect it. Big surprise. Here we go.
So, Bungie's got a new game set to release on September 23rd, 2025 called Marathon.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be this like co-op first-person shooter, extraction shooter sort of game. Players working together in what they're calling quote-unquote crews, which I believe go up to 3 people. So potentially you'll have like 2 teams of 3 going up against each other.
Yep.
And then find the gameplay loop as
it's an extraction shooter.
Gather as much loot as you can and fly. Reception for this game is already rather tempered at best, but many are saying it looks worse than that. For example, saying it looks really boring, really bland, and uninspired, etc. Well, in a Reddit post from the other day, on Sunday, April 13th, a Marathon dev came out with a statement addressing the issues that people have in his own special way, which you'll see.
That's good. I mean, I'm glad that they're listening.
I'll also mention that he is a dev who also worked on the one, the only, Concord. Before we read that, let's get some more context on the
boy.
Here's some of the top comments in the trailer that I was just playing. Comment.
At the end of Marathon is layoffs. Oh boy, hearing there's a new Marathon game out, then finding out it's a team-based extraction shooter took me from an elated high to a depressing depth so fast. Art style has changed a lot since the first trailer. Uh-oh.
Reading. At the end of the Marathon is layoffs. Hearing that there's a new Marathon game out and then finding out it's a team-based extraction shooter took me from such an elated high to such a depressing depth so fast that ancient Greeks are writing an epic poem about it. Art style has changed a lot from the first trailer. Back then, the teaser trailer invoked a pretty surreal and unforgiving feeling.
Yeah, the original one was pretty good. I like
this trailer felt arcadey, plasticky, and casual. A very different feeling compared to the teaser trailer. This is quite conflicting, to be honest. And I love how the general vibe in the comments is that everyone's just really overwhelmed. Alright, with that context,
I don't think, like, the weird thing about Marathon is that I feel like very few people are super positive about Marathon. There are some people who are like, this looks good, but I feel like there's been a lot of people that are really negative about it, and there's been some people that are like kind of on the fence, and people that are just kind of negative, but there are very few people that are like super hyped, right? And I do find that to be, I mean, that matters.
Let's hop over to the Reddit post from the Marathon dev, who's also an ex-Concord dev, and I'll be joining you over there in the you saw yesterday's video where I briefly mentioned what's going on.
Destiny players
Let's do the Ultra Quick TLDR. I'll be doing some videos in part with my D3 model, maybe entirely with
the thing is with like Destiny is that I feel like you're gonna get people. It's the same as like anytime Blizzard made a new game, people would play the new game, but that doesn't mean that the new game is gonna like really last for a long period of time.
That'll maybe not using Model at all. It kind of just depends. But the idea is it'll help me make more videos, get more content out there. And on top of that, it can also just help me get videos done more efficiently because quite frankly, it's less editing when I use the V3 model. I noticed yesterday, like I got that video done way quicker than usual. Not that my videos are highly edited to begin with, I'm not saying that. But regardless, more efficiency is still good. Okay, with that all said, we're over here on Reddit with the title Former Firewatch/Concord Dev Talks Marathon. Yeah, you know it's gonna be good. Hey all, former Firewatch Studios dev here. I've been a long-time lurker for many years and rarely post to Reddit/gaming culture in regards to what is going on in my life as a developer/artist. After reading the comments about Marathon being Concord 2.0 on Reddit, YouTube and Twitter,